Gary's got switch on now every class. So.
That feels so nice.
All right. Okay. So what we started on Friday is we started talking about working overtime. So that's like double time pay and time and a half pay. And we also talked about how to calculate a time card for your business. Last week's topic were time cards and obviously overtime, but it was also how much you get paid per hour. So for those who were absent last week or not here, we had a homework page 2 and page 3. That assignment was due today. So if you had not got that done, that was the assignment I handed out, I think it was last Thursday. So that assignment, make sure you're writing it down, make sure you get turned in. It needs to be in the front basket or back, yeah. Graf walked in this morning, he wasn't even here last week, he walked in this morning, already has it done. It's that simple, it's 15 problems, you can do it. So make sure you are turning that in if you haven't already, and if you're gone, you have an extra day, work on it. I know like some of you were gone for an extended period of time, that's fine. You have some time to work on it, get it done this week, turn in. I want them, if you were gone last week for sure, I want them done by Thursday or Wednesday this week, somewhere in that time frame. That way it's not too late, because we are moving on. We are moving into the next sections. My website's up to date. The only thing I don't have is Friday's video posted yet with the pictures of the notes. The reason why, I started moving my house personally, like we're moving Friday, and I moved all the way till last night, and my house is a disaster, and I don't have internet.
Where you moved to?
Moved to Ventura on the farm. So yeah, we're in the process of moving, and my house is a disaster. I'm lucky I have clean clothes on today, because I couldn't find anything in my house right now. I lost my glasses. Don't know where they're at. They're somewhere in the house, so I gotta go find them.
Somewhere in a box.
They're in a box. I'm no joke. They're in a box. It's a disaster. My OCD goes off, and I can't handle it. So
Your fella's sitting there, ding, ding, ding.
yeah, I still have to move the kitchen and a bedroom. So we're almost done. We made so many trips from Friday to Sunday. I got done like 10 o'clock last night. So. All right, but let's keep going here. So let's talk about the time card. I want to start with that first. We'll do an example or two of time card so you kind of know what the homework will eventually give you if we either get it today or tomorrow. And then we'll do a couple with time and a half, like overtime pay. These are some of the examples we did on Friday. So if you were checking the James gradebook, you're like, ooh, I'm missing an assignment already. Not that page 2 or page 3. We did an in-class activity on Friday. So for those who are absent, I'll let you guys try it today. So it's just, all you do is take a few notes I wrote on the board, you put on a little piece of paper and you turn it and you get points. Does that make sense? That's all we did. It was just to see that people were taking some notes. So I'll hand out some of that paper today for those who are absent, because I want you guys to have equal opportunity everyone else did.
Okay. So just on the notes of this
Yeah,
stuff?
just on the notes. So so for those who are gone, I will give you a little piece of paper and I'll tell you what problems I'd like you to put on this little paper here, so you don't have to feel like you're being left out or getting missed out on assignments, because that's not the purpose. It was just to see that everyone was taking some notes on it. All right, so who was gone Friday that did not get it? So, okay.
How did you do that?
Because it's simple and nice. And
It's like a paper card.
Let's see, was everyone else here Friday? I think everyone else was, and everyone else did the activity.
or like a
Big one
picture.
in art.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
a
that
picture.
thing was so much fun.
Okay.
Just stick some fingers.
Okay, so let's talk about the time card. And again, for those who are in here with a little piece of paper, I'll tell you what problems to write down. Right now, you can just take notes. All right, so here's the first one. We're going to talk about the time card. So the section we're in section 3, so 1.3 to 1.4. That's the section we're in with chapter 1. It's called time card and overtime. These are the two sections I kind of mix together because they kind of go hand in hand. I'll explain that and why I like to mix these two sections together. Again, we're just in chapter 1, so don't feel like you've lost too much. I've been mixing the two sections together. We started this on Friday. It was brand new Friday. All right, so for the time card. Typically on a time card, especially like if you work at a place of business, they'll have a column where it says date. So, and they'll have a bunch of, entries where you can enter your dates that you're working. So like for instance, today's date is the 31st. So I would enter 8/31. Maybe this is my time card today. So 8/31. And now they're gonna have, and most time cards I've used always have 4 columns. So the 4 columns that they have an AM. So that's like, sometimes the card will actually say morning and it'll say in. So you're punching in the morning. They have an AM or morning punch out.
break.
break, you went on break, or lunch. They have a PM punch in, so you came back from break or you came back from lunch. And then they have a PM punch out, or afternoon punch out,
End of the day.
end of the day. That's a traditional time card. That's one that I've used, especially in the summers when I work here at school. I have to fill out my own time cards because I have to meet certain standards and I have to be here a certain number of days. And I have to fill out my time card and make sure that it's all squared
I
up.
thought it was almost all online.
Yeah, most of them are online, but when you work here during the summer, you have to keep track of that. So
Track of your hours so you can
Yep.
get paid.
Yep. It's a hassle, but once you get going, like it's just like clockwork. I have it down like.
It's like memory comes back to you.
Yep. So let's say the punch in today. Let's say I got here at 7:45 today. So punch at 7:45, and I'm gonna punch out for lunch today at let's say 11:45. I think it's about the time when I have to go to lunch. 11:45.
Be lunch.
Okay, so let's stop there. So right there, I punched in, punched out. I have a certain number of hours I always have work. And so what we talked about in class was you could, number one, you can just count with your fingers, figure out what time that was. You could write this down and actually subtract the numbers. And I also talked about if you have a nice calculator, not like a super high-end one, just a little $10 GP calculator, these can do it. As long as you have a certain scientific keys. I think it's under the angle. It's right here. So if you have one of my calculators, it's that button right
It'll be 4 hours.
there. Yeah, it is 4 hours. Now, it is this button right here. What it is, it's degrees, minutes, seconds. That's the button you're looking for. Now, some people on the calculator don't have that.
Well,
It might be in a menu, and it would be under your angle menu. If you have a menu key, I know it seems weird. It's under angles for degrees, minutes, and seconds, and it will actually allow you to type this stuff in. And today I want to show you how you can do that, to show you that it actually does work. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to put on my mask. If you have a calculator, I just want to look at the cover of it. That's all I want to do. Just see, and I'll put my mask on so you don't feel like I'm going to get you sick or anything like that. So I'm perfectly healthy, I think.
Thank
So I'll
you.
put my mask on. If I don't mind. Oh, no, you're fine. So let's just, oh, there, it's right there. That's your little button right there. Right there.
That's the one I thought it was.
Yeah. No calculators, that's fine. Let me take a look. It's that button right there. So it's just like that one right there. That.
Oh, the
Yeah,
second one
yep.
down. Okay.
Take a look. It would be that key right there.
Seven right
All
there.
right, it's, oh,
Yep.
yeah, that one. Oh, please. Yep, no, that's right.
Yep. Since,
Yep.
since we
All right, so I'll walk you through how to do it. It's really slick. When you see this thing work, you're like, wow, that is actually really cool. Because they think about this stuff. They think about real life examples that you need to do that makes your life a lot easier, especially if you have a calculator. I don't know if an iPhone or an Android phone can do this. There's probably an app that you could download that would do this stuff for you.
like a time card.
Like a time card app or something. So I'm just going to show you how to do it by hand. All right, now, if you just count it with your fingers, 7:45 to 8:45, that's 1 hour. 8:45 to 9:45, 9:45 to 10:45, 10:45 to 11:45. That was 4 hours. So right here, now on a time period, you would not write this. I would do this in my head. That was 4 hours of work. So if I know how much I was getting paid, I can already kind of estimate how much money I just made. Not considering deductions in like
Taxes.
taxes, insurance, that type of stuff. That stuff comes up in the later sections of this chapter. So right now, 4 hours. Now, let's do it by hand instead of counting with fingers. You always take the later time. You always take the later time in the morning, and you subtract the earlier time in the morning. And you just subtract like you did in elementary school. You start on the right side and you work your way to the left. 5 minus 5, 0. 4 minus 4, 0. Then the minutes. 11 minus 7, 4 hours. You can just do it by hand.
Old fashioned.
Old fashioned way. That's column method, right? Or technology aspect. Let's do some tech. This is the cool part. This button is awesome. So here's how it works. Type in the later time. So we always have to start with like the later time, the time you're punching out. So to type this in, and I'm going to show you how to do this. You type in the 11 for the hour. God, this marker's dying. Crappy marker. You're gonna start with the time you're punching out. So 11, you're gonna hit this button. So you're gonna hit the degrees, minutes, second button. And what it should display on your calculator, it probably looks like this. Agreed? Has like a little circle. That's your hours. A square? Cool. Okay, it's got a little square. Every calculator is different. Now, you're gonna type in the 45 and hit that button again. The little degrees, minutes, second button. So after the 45, it might put like a little hash mark, a little light.
So would we have to move over then?
No, it just does it automatically. So you just hit the button and it'll automatically enter it.
No.
So, oh yeah, so for you, you'll have to, so scroll over, hit enter, so it's that, yeah. So for you, hit that one, the second one.
Yeah,
Enter.
okay.
Yeah, there you go. So, let me come up to you guys. So you typed it in, you go 11, hit that, yep, hit that, hit enter. Now type in 45, hit that little button again and go to the second one. There. Cool, okay. Yeah, you should be fine. I think it should be fine. If it doesn't, let me know and we'll get it fixed. Do you get it figured out?
I have another score.
Okay, yeah, that's what faucets did. I think you should be fine. So if it doesn't, let me know and we'll fix it. Okay? Okay. Everyone's got entered except for my gentlemen that are just kind of watching. It's fine. Okay. All right, so we're here. Now we're gonna hit the subtraction key. So you're gonna hit the minus key. And then you're gonna type in the 7:45, the time you punched in. It's always punch out time minus the punch in time. So you're gonna hit the 7, hit that little button again, the little degrees, minutes, seconds. You're gonna type in the 45, hit the degrees, minutes, seconds, right? And then hit the equal sign. And what it should display, if you've done this right, on most calculators, it will display this.
Nice.
Did it display that?
Yeah.
It is literally telling you 4 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. And it did the time card for you. It's pretty awesome. Did it work for you guys too?
Yeah.
Okay. It's pretty sweet. And especially if you, like on your guys' calculators, it's weird. You had to pick. So if you didn't understand what I was talking about with these two guys here, when they hit this button, they had to pick which thing they are choosing. Because their calculator will let them go, oh, maybe they don't have a minute. So that it'll let them pick seconds next, like automatically. That was kind of cool. For you guys, I think you had to pick, like you had to type in minutes and you had to type in seconds. So if you didn't have any minutes, you'd have to put in 0, hit the button, hit the seconds, hit the button. They didn't have to. They could have skipped minutes, which would have been kind of cool. So yeah, that's a pretty nice calculator. It allows you the option of skipping them. So, but you had to understand which ones you're hitting, which hash marks. Kind of a cool concept, but it does it for you automatically. Again, if you have an app, it kind of does it, but it's kind of nice. Either way, now you're thinking, Ward, this is easy. Yeah, it's easy now because I picked a nice 4-hour mark, right? If there was minutes and seconds, it gets messy. So let's do that for the afternoon. So let's say that so I went to lunch. I punched in at 12:13. Punched in at 12:13. And I punched out in the afternoon at 4:07. That's the time I punched out, 4:07. That's not clean numbers. In fact, that's really ugly type of math because it didn't work out to be nice like, oh, that's 5 hours. No, it's like 4 hours and some minutes, right? It's some weird number. So if I'm gonna type this in my calculator, I'm typing the 4 first, then I'm subtracting the time I punched in.
But when you do 407?
Yeah, I do 407, right? I'm doing the 407 and then I'm subtracting the 1213. Now you're thinking, Ward, if I want to do this by hand, right, the old school column method, right? You have to change to military time when you're in the afternoon. You have to be in military time. Military time is when you always add 12 to things. Now, on calculators, you don't have to.
When
It's already considered everything it needs to.
12:30?
So on this, if you're going to change to military time, here's how it works. 407 is the same thing in military time as 1607.
So it'd be 8.1.
So, no, it's not 8.1. So maybe on your guys' calculators, you might have to enter military time.
Yeah.
Because
It came up
in
negative
407 in the
8.1.
afternoon, you have to add 12 to it, so it's 16 hours. because that's how military time works. They count up to 24. They don't consider like morning, afternoon, because they never want to get confused if they're on the field. There's like 1600. They know it's 4 o'clock. So it's not, oh, is that AM or PM? No, it's just 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because it's 1600, right? So when you enter it like that, it should spit out the right number. Now, it was about 4 hours and something, right?
354.
354, is that what we're getting? 3 hours and 54 minutes? 354. Now, I'm going to show you how we get that by hand. If that's what the calculator's spitting out, that sounds about right. Okay? So let's talk about how we get to that point. How do we get to that if you're doing it by hand? Because some of you don't have calculators in front of you. So we have to do it by hand, right? So we change it to military time, to afternoon time. The noon we didn't have to change, it's already in military time. Morning is always in military time anyway. But the afternoon, I changed it to 1607. So 7 minus 3. 7 minus 3 is 4. Perfect. 0 minus 1, I can't do that. So I had to borrow from the 6, making that a 5. So this actually turns out to be 15 back here instead of 16. And when you borrow from an hour, you have to make this a 60 for 60 minutes. You borrow from an hour at 60 minutes, right? You don't carry a 1 over like in normal algebra. You have to carry over the 60 for 60 minutes. 6 minus 1 is the 5. 15 minus 12 is 3. So this is the correct time if you did it by hand. Now, typing this in a calculator. You type in the afternoon time and military time. 16 minutes, 7 seconds, or sorry, 16 hours, 7 minutes. Then I would subtract the 12 hours, 13 minutes, and it should spit out that. Now, here's the good news. You're probably thinking, oh my God, what have I got myself into? The book picks really nice clean numbers. Like, oh, you're gonna work 2 hours. You're gonna work 2.5 hours. It's picking really nice, and you can count with your fingers for most of the book problems. They don't try to pick these nasty, evil things like I would. That's why I say you need to have a calculator this week. Like I've been warned, I think I warned you every day last week, didn't I? Like you want a calculator. Because having these buttons is huge, knowing that you have a calculator.
Mine did something else.
So, typed in 16.
Yeah,
Can I see what you typed in? 16, 12, keep going and scroll over further. Hit the little over arrows. 12, 13, hit enter. 3.9, can we change that to degrees, minutes, seconds? Yeah, hit enter. Yes, there. Oh, weird, so interesting. So when Graph typed it in, it told him like 3.9 or something like that, right? It gave him a weird decimal. And to change it back to minutes and seconds, he had to go in that menu of that angle, like degrees, minutes, second thing. He had to hit this button, and he had to scroll over with his arrow keys until it said convert. It had a little arrow, convert to degrees, minutes, seconds. That's weird. That's wild. I've never seen that before. It gave you decimals, and it allowed you to change it later. That's weird. Usually it never does that.
Or,
So,
yeah.
pretty cool. It's nice calculators. These are nice for what, $10, something like that? Really cool.
$7 from
$7?
from Weisenstein. They're usually.
I think she still has those for sale for $7. That's
Yeah,
a
they
nice
used to
cover.
be like 14.
Yeah, those are nice covers.
That's when I bought them, when they were like $14 a calculator.
Yeah,
And it's like they going down, and it's like should have waited.
yeah. I bought 10 at a time. It cost me a fortune, and people took them.
Yeah.
All right.
Buy them in bulk, cheaper.
Yeah, that's what I did. All right. Questions with the time part?
Nope.
Okay. Let's do one more for my few people that are writing down on a little piece of paper. This next problem I'd like you to do by hand. Okay?
Okay.
No calculator. I'm going to pick some easy numbers. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's do a time card. Let's do one more. I just want to figure out your total time you work during the day on this one. Let's pick some easy numbers here. No calculator necessary. You should be able to count with your fingers. All right, so let's say we're going to punch in tomorrow. This is 9-1, so this should be on your little time card.
9.1.
9-1. Let's say we punch in at exactly 8 o'clock. We're punching out at noon. We're going to punch in at 12:30. And we're getting out at 3:30. I want to know how much time you worked. Don't say it out loud. For those who have a little white piece of paper, just put on your little white piece of paper. We'll turn this in, make sure your name's on it. Make sure you have your period, you guys are period 4 for me. Even if you get it right or wrong, I just want it on paper. Doesn't matter if you get it wrong, I'm giving you points anyways. It's just to be attempted. I think it's important you get to try it. Should be able to count this with your fingers. How many hours you worked over? Once we're through this problem, we're going to move on to the next one. We'll do some overtime stuff. Okay, this one you should be able to count with your fingers. You shouldn't need a calculator or anything like that. Count between the hours, how many total hours you work. Try to put some easy numbers. This is the way the book does it.
How many of these do we have to do on the sheet?
We're only going to do 2 problems on the sheet. So this will be 1 out of 2. We'll talk about it here, man. I'm not going to leave you hanging. We'll talk about the answers. I think it's still important you get to see that. I want you to get some time to try it out. Another minute or 2, kind of look it over, see what you have. Okay, anyone else need more time?
Nope.
Okay, let's talk about it. How much time do we get in the morning, just the morning? 4 hours. Okay. Now, again, if you're counting with fingers, 8 to 9, that's 1 hour. 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 4 hours, right? So, there was 4 hours total. Like nice, clean 4 hours. Okay, what about the afternoon?
3.
3 hours. This should be 3 hours. Now again, 12:30 to 1:30, 1:30 to 2:30, 2:30 to 3:30. It's like a perfect 3 hours. That's how I count with my fingers. Then total. 7 hours of work that day. That was tomorrow's day, right? 7 hours total. 3 and 4 put together. So if you're doing a time card, you put in 7 hours, you can figure out how much you're getting paid, all that good stuff. If you're working, a certain amount of days in a row.
Same hours.
Yeah, same hours. You can figure out how many days you need to work to get up to 40. That type of thing. Without going over, hopefully.
Otherwise, I have to pay you time and a half.
Yep. Okay, questions on the time card. We're going to practice that a little more, probably tomorrow. I don't think we'll get to homework today. We'll come back to that. Now let's go to the next problem. The next problem we're talking about is overtime pay. Now this is the part that that we definitely needed a little more help with. I could just tell overall from yesterday.
So we're trying to figure out overtime pay?
Yep. So the idea is overtime pay. So now how this works, you get normal pay. So normal wages, that's what they call it. Wages are what you get paid per hour. Normal wages up to 40 hours a week. 40 hours per week. You get normal wages. So if let's say you're working at Quick Start here uptown, maybe they pay you $10 an hour. I don't know what you get paid. Let's say it's $10. That's up to 40 hours a week. So
that's
if you work 40 hours, you're making like $400, right? Because $10 per hour times 40 hours a week, you get paid $400 a
And
week.
time and a half is
Yeah.
10
So
plus
now,
15.
so let's say, for my example, let's say you get $10 per hour. That's my example. I want to keep it a nice clean number, right? So $10 that's your normal pay, let's say. Now, if we went overtime, now the overtime, there's 2 types. There's time and a half time and a half. And that's anything over 40 hours. So anything over 40 hours. So if you worked 41 hours in a week, the 1 hour,
You get 15
you get certain pay. Yep, you get time and a half. Now what that means for time and a half is that it's your normal pay
plus half.
plus half. Your normal wages plus half extra. So if you got paid $10 an hour,
You get 5
you get 10 plus half of the 10. So $15 an hour. So 10 plus half the 10. Half of 10. Which is 15 total. That's pretty good per hour. Now again, think about it this way. Yeah, it's nice pay, but you are working over 40 hours. That's a lot of hours, by the way.
And that ain't that bad.
Not too bad.
I worked that in like 4 days.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You're a student. You should
Yeah.
be working less than that.
During the
Yeah.
summer I did, last summer I did.
Okay, summer, yeah. School hours you shouldn't.
No.
Now does that make sense? Time and a half. Now that's what you get. So you'd get paid the $15 for everything after 40 hours. So 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe 20 minutes. Who knows? You get paid the time and a half. Now this is where the next one is double time pay. Double time. This is rare. Now your book is very specific on how they say this. This is anything for holidays. And old school, it used to be and Sundays. Now that is not the case anymore.
No.
Sundays are considered a normal work week. Previously, it used to be considered double time pay. So your book is kind of that old-fashioned way of thinking. So they say Sundays and holidays are double time pay. All right, fine. We'll just go with it for the book. Nowadays, it's just major holidays, or sometimes it's a certain rush. A certain rush, they might pay you extra. If like let's say during the pandemic time, you get paid double time to be in because maybe they just can't get workers to come into work. It could be that way. It's probably not, but certain businesses. So yeah, you can negotiate. Now, what double time pay means? It literally is double your pay. So it's your normal pay plus your normal pay. So normal plus normal. So you're literally getting paid $20 an hour.
Oh, nice selfie.
Yeah. $20 per hour. That's big. That's a lot. You're doubling your pay. Now, that's if you worked overtime on a holiday or Saturday. It's not considered, anything up to the 40 hours, that type of thing. So it would be, so if it was a holiday, that's just double time pay. That's separate from your 40 hours a week kind of a thing. So you really have to kind of pay attention if you're on a holiday and like on a Monday. That's just holiday pay. So it's my double time that day, and then everything else is counting up to 40. So after that. So keep that in mind. So I always try to keep track of my time card because sometimes it just gets messed up. It does happen. The office personnel, they're only human. Sometimes they enter it in the wrong category and they didn't realize it. Or they didn't think, oh man, yeah, that was a Sunday. Or it was like well over overtime. Because maybe they forgot to mark you down a certain day. So let's talk about it. So for those who have that little piece of paper, take it out. This will be your last problem that we're going to put on. Last problem today. This is the last problem today for everybody. So, all right. So we're going to calculate what you get paid if you worked a certain amount of overtime. So let's say.
Are we doing time and a half or double?
Yeah. So we'll talk about that. So let's say we're going to work. Say we're going to work 45 hours this week. And it's not holidays or Sundays. So it's not a holiday and it's not a Sunday. So 45 hours. So let's talk about this. So if you're on a little piece of paper, this would be a problem you'd be turning into me. Okay, so what is the normal work week? 40 hours. So right now, 40 hours, you're getting paid normal. Now, let's make up a number. We don't need to use $10. We can use any number you want.
Yeah, let's just use 10.
11. We're going to use 11. She said 11. I like it. All right, so we're going to do $11 per hour. This will be our example for this one. So maybe that's your business. You get paid $11 per hour. Okay? All right, so that'll be your normal 40 hours times 11, right? We'll come back to that here in a minute. Now, what was the overtime we worked?
45, 5 hours?
5. Yep, you're absolutely right. 5 hours. because we had a total of 45 hours, right? 5 hours. This will be time and a half. So that means you're getting paid 11 plus half of 11. What's half of 11?
5.5.
5.5, it's 5.5, right? So if we add these together, you're actually making $16.50 an hour. Because you're taking your, your pay plus half the pay, $5.50. It's half of 11.
That was easy.
And now you multiply these together. So if you have a calculator, you take 11 times 40.
440.
Yep.
And then
So that's
82.
440.
Yep. Then
And then you take your 1650.
82.5.
Yep, times 5. 1650 times 5. And what was that number?
82.5.
82.5. So that would be your overtime. So these two numbers are what you get paid that week. You get both of those, they'd be added together in your paycheck, but it's keeping them separate. So you know that you get overtime versus you get normal pay. They probably have it marked on your time card differently on your wages. So make sure you're paying attention. Did they get all my hours marked for overtime? Did they get me the right pay for my overtime? And then obviously you'd have to worry about taxes and deductions and healthcare and social security and all that good stuff. But that's it for today.
Okay.
Now, I need a picture of some of these notes today.